So I've been using this system full time since really December. But what I'm seeing is miracles. And I'm not talking about spontaneous recovery from illnesses, although there have been some of those. There are miracles in patients upgrading consciousness where they see that their somatic experience was really a blessing that they needed to agree to and take. And from there, they moved forward in their life. And that somatic experience was no longer necessary for them to have, or that symptom was no longer necessary for them to have. And that's in terms of musculoskeletal complaints, digestive complaints, relationship issues. And I see children as well as adults, but I'm talking about working with adults, but seeing children change as I worked with their parents. And that was facilitating them, teaching them imagination activation, showing them how to use I can, I am, I will, I choose, conscious language words, I have, I love, I create, I enjoy, and following the steps of my word made flesh, giving them decrees, but also using tinctures that you haven't mentioned yet, along with saying the decrees. And that's where I've gotten the miracles in these patients.
Awesome.
Yes, I've done some physical things as well. And things you haven't talked about yet that really come from body electronics.
Got it. And so in mindset, let's interact. We'll do some back and forth. So before you knew this existed, and I know you've studied all kinds of things that whatever's going to work. Yes. Give a little background of the additional things you brought in.
So in 2020, my practice took a huge leap because I was one of the few doctors working. But what the leap was in mental illness. And that word, anxiety, fear, depression, ADHD. Now, I do practice functional neurology. So I see adults and children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I see children who are high functioning autistics. But what I was looking at was something else. And I really believe it was came from a thought form mind virus, which you've cleverly called Ricerona. The Indians call it Watika. But I was desperate to make these people better because it was promoting all their autoimmune symptoms. So I learned neuroaffective touch. I spent $20,000 on learning and neurofeedback equipment, which I still do use in my practice every day, neurofeedback. I learned compassionate inquiry from Gabor Mehta. I learned internal family systems, Dick Schwartz. I was trying to practice as a therapist because we didn't have enough therapists to see these patients. And I wasn't getting there. I was calling everything trauma, childhood trauma, and we have to deal with your trauma. But I didn't know how to deal with their trauma until I found this, which was easy enough to ask them a question after reading the signal of their body and saying, what about this? Have you thought of this? And then starting that dialogue with them that moved them forward through the symptom, which may have not even started with them. It may have been lineage. It may have been mother, grandmother, great grandmother, and got them to raise their awareness of where that was. And in that, raised the consciousness and cleared out the what the subconscious was holding on to from an original event. We may not have even gotten to the original event, but we got them aware of to touch and stay and breathe and then clear that symptom out till they upgraded into their next, I'll say, best version of themselves.
Beautiful. And I love this because the application, I'm the steward of the system. How we're going to apply it is going to take you and others who, go, all right, when I'm practicing whatever their delivery technique is for helping people. So my question is, what changes now when somebody comes in your awareness?
So my interview for a new patient, or for any patient, when any patient walks in, we sit and discuss what's happening for you right now. And I think most doctors do, but I don't chart. I don't get on my laptop. I don't write on my clipboard. I watch the patient's body signals because they give them to me because I can translate them. And that's where we start. We start with the sacred body language and move forward with the questions that open up what's the cause of the symptom, or what's triggering the symptom, what's relating to the symptom. So that's where my practice has changed since December, is that I chart later after they leave.
So
because I'm looking, I have to be observant. Voice inflections, voice cracking, tones, eye shifting, blinks, things that are really nuances that I can pick up. I can say, hang on a sec. Let's go back to what we just said, because you gave me a signal that I want to pursue that further. And that's the thing that internal family systems doesn't have, or compassionate inquiry has the great questions, but it doesn't have the signals from the body that's telling you, hey, I want to talk about this now, but the patient doesn't want to talk about that now.
So have you, what I bring in my experience, and I'm going to ask you yours, Dr. Tamie, the book, before that, somebody would have to do a million hours. I mean, that's exaggerated, but a ton of hours to learn it. Now with the book, have you found the questions, the translations are accurate?
Yes. And it's fun to, when I say to the patient, I'm smiling because I have an answer and I want to show you in this manual. And then when you look it up, they go, whoa, that's me. What's that decree? Can I take a picture of that? I'm like, yes, of course, you're going to be saying that decree. But it makes it fun and easy, which is the biggest takeaway of this is that it's not hard. They come with a symptom, you look the symptom up, or a lot of times I already know it, but then I show them, look here, it's in this manual, and here's your homework. And it makes them a part of actively engaging in their healing. Yes, we can give them exercises, or yes, we can give them other things to do, but giving them an active decree empowers them to do their own self-healing once they leave my clinic.
Oh, that's good. So, and I'm going to share for a minute. Please stay on, Dr. Tamie, on this. So what for me, what I realized the system does is it helps me be aware of my role in whatever was going on that I didn't even have a clue I had something to do with. I just thought this thing was attacking me, and, oh God, I got to go to a doctor and have them take it away. And now I realize I'm involved right from the beginning. Have you had this going on? Has this been going on now? Whenever this came up, did you have this, that? Well, yeah. In other words, the person can see, experience, be aware of what was going on for them in thought, word, and feeling co-creatively at the same time frame, number one. And then in the system, most all the healing stuff I've studied, I mean, I'm thinking if there's anything else, most 99% of everything I've ever studied was to attempt to get that pattern to diminish or to go away so they get back to normal. That's not what this system is about. In other words, if, like for me, I was phobic to speak in public. So if I went to a facilitator, they would have me know that I'm here to, I'm the opposite of that. And everybody that's under me would go, oh, conscious language and all the other stuff. Yeah, I didn't learn how to speak in public. I figured out how to speak out loud into me until I get it. And to translate, there's no such thing as public. So again, I didn't just learn how to speak in public. Now I can. You know, I can speak to thousands of people. I'll pee 4 or 5 times before I go on. That always that's just the normal. My adrenals and renals going, hello, time to pee. A little hyper, a little nervous, go on. But I can do it. And I love it. And I came to speak from my heart. So in my senior year, I had a contraction. I was born, I found out, remembered later, after sharing that for a couple of decades, I was born tongue-tied. So I got my tongue cut free as an infant. I came to cut tongues free. Every person, if somebody comes in, let's say with shoulder issues, I know that person is to resolve burdens they've carried, left shoulder feminine, right shoulder masculine, front of the shoulder self, feminine, back of the shoulder, female, others. Again, there's a way to translate all this. But I came to that person, me, it happened for me as well. That person came to restore their blessings of their lineage. Oh my God. So it's not just get back to normal. It's always as strong the contraction is, that's how far the blessing is going to go. So Dr. Tamie, what happens now when somebody has something going on, and it could be all the ADD, dyslexia, borderline or functional, autistic, Asperger's, whatever else. What do you get in your being first, no matter what you do with translating for them, but what happens for you? Do you go, oh, they got this going on, or what?
So it lets me be a co-empowering person. I'm not the authoritative doctor that says, here's your diagnosis and here's how it's going to fix. We partner to co-empower. And from there, we move them forward into their, like what I like to say to patients is, we're now looking at an upgraded version of yourself, maybe the best version of yourself right now. But what happens in their family, which they come back to report later, is changes through their family, their neighbors, their friends, but then it comes back to me as an upgrade, because I'm getting a blessing back as we're doing this. And that then goes on for every patient I've touched that day, or maybe even every patient I've touched in the last 4 decades. And it brings blessings back to me, but the blessings that carry on through their family is the beautiful thing, that when I cue them, look for changes in your family, they come back to me and say, hey, you know that thing? My son got a raise. So we get miracles on top of miracles. Even as we help them heal and feel better, the miracles continue on throughout their family and their community. And they get a glimpse, you are tongue-tied. Your purpose is to untie tongues. These people get a glimpse into their purpose of why they embodied this body in the first place, which some of them have never thought of. Oh, I actually came here for something? And I know my purpose is to raise the vibration of humanity. So for me, I get to fulfill that purpose every day. So instead of walking into my clinic every day and looking at the appointment book and going, oh, it's Mr. Fufufnik again, I look at it and say, wow, I've got an opportunity for this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. And I end up being in the office 12 hours a day and, still have energy at the end of the day to take care of my family. That's the beauty of this system, is the feedback back to you. And that's for massage therapists, that's for therapists, that's for dentists, that's for chiropractors, that's for osteopaths, that's for MDs. Anyone who touches someone can valuably use this system to improve everybody's life, including their own.
I love it. Thank you, dear. Thanks for doing it. But you get, oh my God, and any other comments? So just, who else? Go ahead.
Elman has his hand raised in his little box.
Go ahead, Elman.
Just my background is I've read Conscious Language. I just finished reading it. That's basically all I know about mastery systems. And so I don't know what system is being talked about. I was wondering if you could just tell me a little bit about what she's talking about that she did differently in this last year from before that apparently that you presented to her.
Well, there's a book out. I'll help you with that. There's a book out called My Word Made Flesh,
Okay.
which I put all of the whole system in instead of me teaching. There's a lot to it to guide people through, but I put it in a book. So there's a resource. Somebody can look up anything, find out what the issue is by asking a question and what the decrees are. Essential oils are in it, how to work with nutrition relative to consciousness, codependence into co-empowerment, the scale of emotions. All the body is translated in there, and also a whole bunch of named issues from the medical and other forms of community. Just as, is this going on in your life? Here's your decree. So that book, My Word Made Flesh, version 2, it's out, is something you can get and study. And from there, and this is what we're doing right now, is we have a 6-month mentoring program, which is Mastery Systems, Quantum, Thriving Technique, 6-month mentoring program. And I look at how many hours do you think you, Dr. Tamie, you've studied the material now? Or how many days or whatever?
Really intensely, probably about 30.
So I'm going in 30 hours. And of course, live class helps a lot. And we're going to do a lot of that. In 30 hours, someone is as effective as you are. And for me, I'm going, you know, I choose to make sure everybody can get on my shoulders and be as good as I am or better. Of course, I'm going to climb on their shoulders. So let's have at it. I'm just saying how it works. But I'm going, every healthcare professional, I love what you said about anybody that works or touches people. I'm thinking like the medical person gets to have somebody doing QTT in their office. Any human resource person, any school counselor, anyone, somebody in there that can know exactly what's going on. And one of the things I love, one of our chiropractors, Dr. Natasha, she works a lot with infants and very young kids and all that stuff. Body language is immaculate for every age, every language. It's the same language. So you, like a newborn baby or a nursing baby, pre-verbal, doesn't have language hooked up, you know, whatever, 1 year, whatever, they're using the same body language we're reading. So the mom or the parent can know what that child is asking for, what their call is for. You know how cool that is? How many, I don't know. I just don't know. And what Dr. Tamie shared was frequently, and this has been my experience over and over, people would come to me going, oh, my kid really needs you. So I see the kid for 20 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. I send the kid out to be with somebody else and I be with the parents. It's never the kid. It's always the parent or parents. And so I have them do something in them and the kid gets it. The benefit is there. So this is an entirely profound upgrade. That's every person, all of us right now have miracles waiting for agreement. So Dr. Tamie was sharing the reward, like so many, Dr. Rick calls it pop and go. You know, so many, you know, adjust and go, who's next, who's next, who's next. And most systems, from psychologists, psychiatrists, psychotherapists, no judgment to anybody, they've been managing to see if they can get some improvement. With this system, it's never trying to get improvement. It's restoring the blessing that's shouting, waiting for agreement. I know that from my own personal experience, and I wrote the book, and I found out after I wrote the book by applying the law for me. And I'm also going, it's really freaking helpful to have somebody help each one of us. I mean, we could all benefit by having a coach. So you can just sit there going, oh, I got this going on. The person can read it out and ask questions instead of me having to go, well, and then I all right, I will and I can. So I can just be me and have my stuff up and go to a person who's translating me while they're voting victory. And they're also not agreeing with my limitation. They're seeing right through it. So what Dr. Tamie was describing first, that, you know, got done with the end of the day, 12 hours, and you had more energy than when you start. That's what healthcare gets to be. So Elman, does that help? My Word Made Flesh is the book.
Yes, I saw that on your website about an hour ago, because as soon as I got on here, realized Mastery Systems, let's look and see what you have. So I checked again. So I do expect to be getting that today. I'll be purchasing that.
Awesome. And there's a lot of study that goes along with it, all kinds of ways that you can deepen your experience. Anyway, so anything else, Dr. Tamie, you can jump back in anytime, my dear.
No, not unless somebody has a question for me. I
Any
mean, we have
question?
some body workers on. We have Donna and we have Juliana. They're both massage therapists.
Yeah, can you imagine rubbing people the right way and being able to and being able to translate what's going on? I always thought that. What do you do? I rub people the right way. Oh, you're a massage therapist. I mean, first time I heard that, I said, that's fine. So any comments or questions about, I mean, for me, I have a very good friend of mine, Steven Spencer, new body language from way back. And when he's rubbing somebody, I mean, massage, he go, what do you got here? And so you do body electronics, you kind of hold that point. You got any, well, let's say burden going on, let's say right shoulder, with a masculine figure about work? What do you mean? So he goes, I'm not leaving this point until we figure this out. So it's not just you got a burden going on, let's say right shoulder, there's some blessing that you get to reclaim. That's where we are now. How many love the idea of, oh, these are signals from my innate divine intelligence talking to me to agree with some blessing instead of get rid of some pain. And this is a complete rewire of our consciousness. Instead of right, wrong, the only thing that can transcend right and wrong is good, or right and wrong or good and evil is love. Only love can do that. So I love the 5 engagements. I love, I touch, I breathe, I stay, I feel are essential. And I touch and I stay are the first most important ones I found.
Bob, I can give an example of someone who came into the office with musculoskeletal pain, all right-sided. So you know where I went. And I said, is there something in your life that's giving you, a male figure that you're having conflict with? And it was an immediate meltdown. I'm getting divorced. My husband's left us. I'm worried about money. And as we went through, the original occurrence was really that at age 5, her father left the family and her mother had to work 2 jobs to have enough money to make ends meet. So we actually went on to have her accept the blessings on her father's side. And she said, I realized I brought this marriage to me by repeating the pattern of my father. And she said, my eyes are open now at the blessing of my husband leaving. So, and she called later that day and said, I'm no longer grieving the fact that we're getting divorced. So that was a real spin on me. I didn't think that's what was going to come out of it. And you'll be surprised when you use it too, what things will really come out of it.